on the phase where I was going down. I dropped my career, and it was not easy at that time to come back. Most shaking part was my emotional imbalance that was happening because of the compromises back to back I was trying to do. So, like,
Women has to continuously keep proving herself that yes, I'm still
for me, it was more survival mode. Like, as I said, my daughter health was impacting. And that time I
Namaskar. Welcome to yet another wonderful episode of She Thrive. Before I begin this, a small request. If you're watching this and if this feels like your space, please subscribe to this channel. So, in this episode and in this space, we talk about the real stories behind women's journey, their choices that they make, the battles that they fight, and the lessons they carry forward in their life. These conversations are not only about making people happy or maybe give and take relationship. This is around the self-worth. We are going to talk about people pleasing, career breaks, motherhood boundaries, rebuilding confidence, and choosing authenticity over approval. Here's a simple question. Can we build successful life without losing ourselves into the process? And my today's guest is very special invitee, and she'll be adding a lot of value and insight into this. I am absolutely honored and pleased to welcome Ruchi Bansal with me today. She's a project manager by profession and an author by passion. Thank you so much for joining me, Ruchi, today.
thank you, Prerna. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm looking forward for a wonderful discussion ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. So does I. So, you have rebuilt your career, Ruchi. I know you before this, and I know how you have rebuilt yourself, and you have set boundaries, you have faced a lot of things, and you have, despite of all of that, you have basically built a wonderful book of word full of compassion. And I think in today's context, going beyond and sharing compassion and talking about humanity and spreading humanity is very, very essential. So thank you so much for writing that wonderful piece of book. Congratulations to you for that.
Thank you, Prerna. Thank you. Definitely, compassion is something I live every day. And when I started seeing the advantages and that fulfilling life inside me, that's where I started thinking this is something I should write about. Like as you said, it's one of the essential topic where we have to spread it. With that
Mhm.
intention only, I started writing this book, and I want to spread it more till each and every soul.
Lovely, lovely. And with that wonderful thought, because of course, seeing at you, you come across as a thought leader through your book and everything that we know about each other on various social media platform also. So can you tell me how did that transition, who was Ruchi before all of this and how did Ruchi transition into a thought leader today?
Definitely. And this is a very important topic. And if you see, this transition was not intentional. It got evolved with time, with experience, with my own awareness. So, as you asked, who was Ruchi before and how she got transitioned as a thoughtful leader. So, I was a very underconfident, under average girl who was not knowing what exactly she should do every day, although she was having lot of dreams, and she was living a very unconfident life where she was looking outside for validation, appreciation, acknowledgement, and as and when she was not getting it, that support in terms of appreciation and acknowledgement, she was letting her down. And with that journey of being an underconfident girl, then I faced a lot of struggles, like as I mentioned, you mentioned, like I started my career, restarted my career 2 times. So because of all those challenges and the Ruchi before, I took those decisions because I was not able to manage myself along with career and taking care of daughter, managing house, having my own self out. with all that journey, then getting that awareness, starting working on myself, looking for guidance outside, then I realized what I was missing, and that was completely internally the transformation that needed. Then I started working on myself, on my weaknesses, and more important, I started making the list, or started identifying the things those are needed for me for coming up as a confident person who is living a fulfilling life. I have always been a person, more than me, I used to think about others. And in that scenario, I was exhausting myself because I was not even checking what exactly I need for myself. And that's where I took such diseases, or I did such mistakes before. Those were the mistakes at that time, but those mistakes gave me the pause in the life where I was on career break. Then I got that pause where I got time to think whatever happened, why I'm not that happy. And those pauses give me the time to go on this explorer mode when I started looking for uh, for the things or the work that I should do for myself. And that's where, this all transformation started. Then I will say my transformation easily started happening in those pauses of my career break, where I got that year or 6 months of time when there was nothing, and I was more sulking because of that, pain and guilt that I was having, that why I'm not able to manage it, why I'm being in this painful or sad situation. And that's how it came out that I never dream of, like, I will be having a successful career, then I will become an author, and even like as a thoughtful leader.
And I'm sure that must have been a very emotional journey for you because I think more than we could imagine or we know. A lot of women, especially, when we talk about professionals. Having said that, does not mean I'm not like really intending to differentiate here by saying male or female, but certainly women have their own set of challenges, and there are a lot of things that they face at different phases in their professional as well as career, personal lives. So you said that you have restarted your journey twice. Could you tell us about that? What restart? How did it all happen, and where all did it actually begin?
Yeah. So, like Prerna, as you said, it's not about that women are struggling, and whatever the woman struggles, that impact only the woman of the house. That impacts everybody in their family and in the society. But what I will say, it's more happened, and we are, getting impacted more because the transition that is happening around the world, that women, people are talking about women empowerment, right? So in terms of empowerment, what we are doing, we want our girls or the women to get good education, after then having the career, and then after having a career, then even we have the aspiration, and people want to see women leadership in big roles, in CXO roles. So, if you see in this whole transformation and evolvement, we are talking more about bringing the woman ahead. But in that transformation that world is facing, what type of ecosystem we should have in a family or in a society, that has not yet thought about. So that's why, if we see how this society and the world has been going on, house has always been handled by the woman, and men are responsible to go outside and earn money. Now we have brought up this shift that women are also coming in parallel to the men and going outside and earning money. And at the same time, nobody thought of when the women will also come in that zone of earning money or having their identity, transforming the world, then how this house course and house activities would be handled. So that thought nobody gave to. And that's why, if you see, still those are being expected from the woman, because those discussions, those thought never brought up on the table for anyone.
Yeah.
So we can't say it's a by
Ecosystem you were talking about, that was interesting.
the ecosystem that I'm talking about. So if I talk about my family, initially, definitely when I got married, being a working lady, and then, daughter-in-law and being a wife, it was expected from me that I'm doing 9 to 6 job what my husband was doing. Apart from that, being that 26-year-old girl, now I got additional responsibility that I manage the house, I need to do cooking, even after coming back, I need to do cooking. And I was also having that mindset, yes, something my responsibility, that is not something my husband's. And when I was trying to tackle everything, I was overdoing more than my capacity. That's where then exhaustion started happening. Initially, when you are not having kids, still it's manageable. Then once you get that comfortable in your marriage, then husbands also start supporting when you get that bond. Then they also see, yeah, she's very tiring. So, and then second transition happened when you have a kid. So you have a kid, you have a career, body is exhausting, it's recovering. Now it's even triple that you're trying to do. You are managing home, you are managing office, now full-time mother. Your husband can't feed, right? And at that time, still in that 3 to 4 years of time, at least in my case, when I had my kid, still that transformation in my mindset and in my husband mindset didn't happen. That made me even more exhausted. Physically, when you are giving a birth, you take year to get completely physically fit. Now you are doing even more with that weak body and mind. And that's where my first career break happened. Although initially I was feeling very strong, in 2019, when I gave birth to my daughter, maternity leaves were only of 3 months. Now, thanks to government, they have changed it and it's 6 months. And that time, work from home options were also not there. Mine delivery was cesarean, so I got 1 month extension because of C-section. Then I was on the maternity leave for 4 months. After that, I was in that full josh, and in my office only, we were having the daycare. And just you imagine, in the morning, I'm waking up, I'm cooking, and after then, I'm packing for me, for my husband, and definitely a lot of things I need to carry for my daughter to the daycare. And with that, a 4 months old baby in the lap, my bag, my daughter daycare bag, driving, tying my daughter in the car seat, driving, going office, coming even. And that was the life I was trying to live. So just you imagine with that much of exertion, how a woman can survive.
Yes, and forget about perhaps leadership conversations gets even more difficult there because you're already
Exactly.
has to take, I mean, your emotional brain is already heavy at that time,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
plus pressure, plus no support, and I can
Yeah,
imagine.
that's true. Yeah, and that's where when my daughter was lactose intolerant, then I was having lot of limitation on my diet because she was on
Hmm.
mother feed. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then her health started impacting. On top, I was getting judged that definitely I am a very aspire lady. I have my own ambitions, those I wanted at that time also. I never thought of till that time I will ever take career break. That high aspiration I was having. And at the same time, when my daughter's health started declining, I was getting judged as your daughter is not well. Even after that, you are taking her to daycare, you are
Of course.
continuing your career, so you are so much behind money, you are not thinking about it, then that's where
Yeah.
more self-doubt started coming. Am I really a selfish mother?
Yes.
Am I really thinking about my kid? And that too, like being a couple, handling kid and all that pressure, then again a daughter is not well, health is declining, you have too much of, how lactose intolerance is, in
Yeah.
that you can't take any of the dairy product. Being a mother as
Yeah.
she is on my feed, even I can't take. Then at least in Indian food, hardly you left with the options that you get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Certainly.
where then when my daughter was around 1 year old and I got completely exhausted, and definitely physically, because I was trying to do a lot out of my complete mentally and physically capacity, and then all being judgment that I was getting. And then, you know, I took this career break. So
Hmm.
it was definitely emotionally, it was a turbulence. And physically, definitely after career break, I started feeling little better, but mentally I was not liking it because I have never been a house staying lady. So I was
Yeah.
not knowing how to stay at home all day.
Yes.
Although I was having kid, I was having house shows. But when you wanted to rush all the time, when you wanted to be, on that running mode all the time, you are not staying idle, just only the time when you're sleeping, then it's very tough. So, like as you asked, definitely it was mentally exhausted, emotionally, it was completely exhausted.
Absolutely. I totally understand you. And I think so many women would relate to your story, Ruchi. It is basically, I mean, I can really understand that it is almost every second woman's thing. If she's working, she's aspirational. And of course, today's girls are aspirational, right? So sitting at home is not come in their wildest of imagination, and what comes after this, especially this child phase, is a new surprise in their life. But what do you have to say about the society being so judgmental? Like you said, they were continuously questioning your motherhood, your practices on yourself, whereas you were continuously giving so many sacrifices on your diet, on your food, on your interests, everything. You quit yourself completely, and still the society is rushing to judge a person that you're not a good mother. First of all, what do you think why that's so easy for people to come and judge? Why?
Correct, yeah. So if I look back and go and check who all were judging me, those were the people, they have never seen that environment where a woman going office taking a kid to the daycare. Because in my whole family, to my in-law side and even my parents' side, there was no single lady before me who worked or who was having a kid and taking the kid to daycare. So for them, it was completely new. So, whenever such judgments are coming, first we should try to understand what type of people are judging me. If I would be having the colleagues, those are already there ahead me. They have built up their career, they have raised their kid. Then, if I would have gone to them, if they would have seen me, they would have given me the advice instead of judging me. But if you see the pattern, at least based on my observation, the people, those have not seen that, they have not lived it, they have not even thought of having that type of change in the world, and they are not ready to accept this flexibility, those type of people will only judge you. So what I strongly believe, you should have your network and surrounding around those people who are having that type of environment, those can support you instead of judge you. So whenever such judgments are being received to you, you have to put a filter to check whether this is a genuine judgment that's coming, I have to work on, or it is something that people are telling based on their own experience and insecurities. And this is very big learning that gave me this advantage of coming back and restarted my career.
Lovely.
See, I won't tell like people would have stopped judging me. What whoever judged me before, and there are different type of people, still they would be judging me.
They
But
still judge
now
me, but I don't care anymore.
I don't let them bother me, because I first check whoever is judging me, then what is their background? What is their mindset?
Hmm.
If they have not having that futuristic mindset, they are not having the vision
Hmm.
of bringing or
Yeah, yeah.
adopting this transformation, then they will judge you. They will not come and support you.
Absolutely. So, on the other side of the same story, Ruchi, of course, we understand that, mostly our generation are the ones who, most of us are the first ones to enter into this new age modern world, and things are building up on our back. If I say that, it won't be wrong because, I mean, we are living at the edge of two different generations altogether. So, we have to be the one on whose back, people are building up. But how was your experience while all this was happening in your office? So of course, a lot of overwhelming, how your day begins was of course overwhelming, but what was happening when you entered into the office? So around that scenario during those times.
So, see, if you see in the offices, there are still the people who are ahead of your journey. There would be few. So, even in offices, you will find the mixed crowd. There would be people supporting and understanding you in such phases of life, and they leverage you with the support that's required. But there would be another set of people, for them that does not matter, because they are completely that business mind, that output and productive oriented, and for them they don't even think about your personal life. For them what matters is the deliverables, is the outcome at your work, and accordingly they will treat you, they will judge you, or they will evaluate your performance. So there would be a mixed crowd. If I see, even that time when I left my career, that time my manager, she was a project manager. She already raised the kid, and I think her kids were almost teenage. That time she tried to help me to change my decision, but my ecosystem and her ecosystem was completely different. She was having already the support system of her parents and in-laws. Because of that, her way of living the life, or the guilt she was not having, that I was carrying of taking my kid to the daycare. But at the same time, I will not say all of my colleagues, even female colleagues, who are having that mindset to support me or helping me to change my decision. So you will always see the mixed crowd in offices. The only thing is you have to go and seek who all are there in my that surrounding, and you have to identify the right person who can help you building up your career at that time.
Understood. So, what was more difficult for you, Ruchi, to survive during that time in the office or organization, or were you even thinking about leadership or growth at that moment, or it was purely survival mode that you were into, and how leadership support was there for you?
For me, it was more survival mode. Like as I said, my daughter health was impacting. And that time I was majorly looking for some flexibility where I could have been provided some work from home, where I could have been there with my daughter at home all time so that I can see, and accordingly I can check even her diet, and I can observe her whole trend and the pattern in the day. Because being a lactose intolerant, she was having lot of things that she was suffering, and I had to observe it so accordingly I can work. And at the same time, it was for me, it was completely exhausted because I was, like as I said, I was overdoing at home, then going office every day, 9 to 6 you have to be in office, then coming back, then cooking. More it was survival mode. Because of that survival mode, I was getting more emotionally impacted, and then little bit more as a leadership support that I was looking.
Hmm.
If I would have been given that flexibility of
Hmm.
working from home, not for all days, but some days, then I could have managed. So it was like at both places.
So,
So
what was the
definitely,
most difficult phase that actually shaped you in this entire episode of, career breaks, or, you know, before the resilience really hits, when you were really struggling into all of this and seeking for some support, as you said, from the leadership to give you work from home, which is anyways happening. But perhaps when a woman asks because she has to take care of kids, there are some sort of dilemma that an organization gets into before allowing you that. However, there are certain organizations which very openly and welcomingly they provide that from their end itself, but there are certain who choose not to. So, what shaked you most in this entire episode?
for me, most shaking part was my emotional imbalance that was happening because of the compromises back to back I was trying to do. So, like, I wanted to take rest, or I wanted to do workout, but I was not having the time to do it because I had to cooking, I had to go to office, and then after coming back again, I have to take care of the house chores. And at that time, when I was trying to manage everything and I was not able to manage, at that time, what you need more is support. Support from your family, support at your career, sorry, in your office, from your leadership. And when you don't get it, then you don't know how to manage it. At the same time, you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up your career, and also at home you are trying to be that, best mother, best wife, where you want to cook the food for your family and you want to give up. I think that lack of guidance and support, how shall I manage my life from here onward, so that I have not to compromise with my career, and at the same time my family's responsibilities can also be taken care. I was not knowing how shall I do it, and even I was not getting that enough guidance and support. As I said, in my family there was no working lady who could have explained me. And in leadership, yeah, I was more being expected to be at business without even thinking and checking about my, my personal life, what I was going through.
What bothers as a female employee, and especially at that phase of your career, what bothers you most? I mean, of course I know, but just want to understand your perspective that I'm not able to deliver what I want to deliver is a problem, or whatever I'm delivering is not seen into the organization looks like a problem at that phase for a female employee.
First statement that you said, that I want to deliver, but I am not able to deliver. And at least for the women, those have always been an extra excellent performer. I have always been an excellent performer before. And when, I was having that dip because of all this turbulence and changes that I was having in my life, then let's forget about the leadership and the managers, what they were expecting. I was expecting myself to be on that performance, to be on that level of productivity where you were always being appreciated and recognized by being an excellent performer. So this guilt was more at my level, that I'm not able to deliver. So that's why I said it was more my own emotional turbulence, that how shall I manage now?
But shouldn't we expect organizations to little more empathetic? Who doesn't have family, who doesn't know that women coming straight from the maternity has so many things to manage? Maybe an organization could be a little more empathetic. What do you have to say around it? Shouldn't we should curb our expectations accordingly that deliver 100%, but maybe in this area rather than perhaps everything? Or women has to continuously keep proving herself that yes, I'm still worth it, I'm still worth it. What?
Yeah, that's true, definitely. But now, if we see, things are changing. So that's where, if you see, what I'm telling you is a 11-year-old story.
Hmm.
That is still, if you see this world of having women as a working in leadership in workspace is changing, and that needed lot of transformation at home in terms of the ecosystem, transformation in terms of the mindset at workplace and even at home. But their time, definitely people were not knowing. They thought, like, what a big deal if you have a kid? It's okay. But business is business. You are being paid for the work that you have to deliver, and you have to deliver. Because those topics were never raised before. And at that time, we can't blame people there. Because that's whatever you have not learned, whatever has not been taught to you, how you can even answer such topics. So that is one of the most practical topic that was never taught, that had never been discussed before. Very few people had discussed about it, because I'm a big fan of Indra Nui. Then I watched all of her interviews. Then now, when she got retired, at that time, she is also even now talking what type of change and shift is needed in our world if we really want to see our women in leadership role in CXO roles. Because the journey that she went through, I think 2 or 3 decades before. I think in 2002 or 2001, she became CEO of PepsiCo. Then the journey that she went through, it was not like that was very smooth journey. She struggled a lot, and her journey on being that peak of career was very remarkable for others. But what she has gone through, what she compromised, that she knows, and based on her learning, she is talking. But I don't think only one voice, or I'm not telling like others are not talking, but more learnings, more discussions, more transformations are needed, and that those are happening, and those will happen by having more conversation. And I will say those are happening because this topic is very close to me. So at least in my circle, whether in my family or in my friends and in my colleagues, whenever any girl is getting married or having a kid, I'm having open discussions. And in my organizations, yes, now even HRs are starting such, employee groups where such women are being called and discussed by with along with all these experienced leaders who are already directors and VP, have gone through, their kids are already in college or doing job, how they sailed through, what they did, and what they shouldn't do it, and that they are teaching. So I understand that was the time things were like, as you said, we are the generation where transformation started majorly to happen. It's a big shift to us. That's why we struggled more. And now, as a we have to be on that first foot, being that change maker who wants to talk more on this topic and helping others and making this a very easygoing environment for all of the women and for the men also. Because when a woman of your house is struggling, then that house, other members of the house will not be happy. They are also seeing the struggles and getting impacted because of it. So the change that we need, it needed across gender and across only in office or at home. It's everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Ruchi, how did all of this basically framed you as a person, over this period of time? How did this crafted you?
So if you see, my entire personality got changed in terms of number one, from being a people pleaser or for looking from external validation, be with yourself. Number one, discipline, consistency, and all-time learner. I was never a good reader before, but now I read a lot of books. I always keep on learning from webinars, podcasts, books, from classes. And now, if you see, I'm the person who is very kind, very compassionate, and looking for more humanity, and always ready, to bring some changes in the world and making the world little kinder and lighter. What I feel, life is already running on a big race on so many topics where everybody wants to thrive, and at the same time, we are being always loaded and burdened with many of the topics. I don't think that's required all the time. Sometimes it's good if we can live little lighter life. And
Yeah.
that's how I became. Otherwise, right now, if you see, my daughter and all of her friends call me cool mother, who I was not before. So I think all this journey, transformation, and that shift make me that cool mother. And I like it when, when our friends comes and all these, young kids have their own keywords. Your
Yeah, yeah.
go to go mother, your go to go auntie, and they use such cool words for me, and I like it.
Zen Alpha slangs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like it. I enjoy it because I was never like that before, and I'm enjoying my life now with my daughter, with my husband, with my relative at my workplace. So I'm enjoying.
Lovely, very nice. And definitely these things also teach you in different ways of how would you navigate, and it also pushes you to learn undoubtedly. So currently there are, apart from everything that we have discussed and the out loud and obvious struggles, are there any silent struggles also that you think women are still facing and perhaps nobody's talking about it?
I think we have talked in our previous discussion that it's more about expectation. It's more about, being a perfect that has always been given as a one of the by default syndrome, I will say, to the woman. Because since childhood, it has been taught to us, although you are tiny, you are going to school, but at the same time, be with your mother and help them in the house chores. And at the same time, you are being taught to be having big goals, aspiration, and nobody taught you about it's okay that in one area of life, if you are not able to thrive or you are average performer in one of the area, it's fine. Nobody taught you that. So that all time being that perfect with that perfection and that expectation that world is always having around you, I think this is a very hidden and underlying, what should I say, burden that at least women are facing. Because like as I said, there was a part of the woman that is still as it is from the expectation that world is having, although now they are just going from start to end, even they are covering the part those that was expected from the men before.
Right.
Yeah, so what I feel, this is something that is still bothering people, at least women, and
Hmm.
this fine tuning and change in the mindset is needed. And I think that will start happening because we got this awareness now. So at least we will not pass on this to our kids and the next generation coming. So that's why if you see nowadays we talk a lot about Gen Z, right?
Hmm.
They are little away from that expectation of the world, like they have to be perfect and they want to fulfill the expectation of everybody in the world. They love to live in their own world. So somewhere from this aspect, I feel at least they are getting unloaded from the burden that at least our generation women is still carrying.
Certainly, certainly. All right. So you have definitely shared a lot about what you have done from that time till today. Any achievement that you're really proud of, despite of being a cool mom's tag that you have gained? I mean, professionally or personally, in any
Yeah,
way.
definitely. I feel proud on my career. Like as I said, I'm the first woman in my house who started doing job, and even after having so many hiccups, I'm still standing in the program management and earning a good salary. So this is one of the achievement. But more than that, what makes me feel proud that instead of having so many obstacles, instead of dropping my career two times, I came back. I came back with more light, with more energy, with more power. And when I go back and look on the phase where I was going down, I dropped my career, and it was not easy at that time to come back, and but I could do it. And I have seen so many women around me, my friends, once they dropped, it was very tough for them to start it and they couldn't do. But somehow, because of my own willpower and my resilience, I could do it. And that is one of my biggest achievement that I feel, because after those breaks, I not only came back as a project manager or program manager. I came with more titles like I'm an author now, I'm a thoughtful leader, and I'm spreading the kindness that I want to spread. And I want people to think about bringing back the humanity in the world and the life. So it's not only about building the career, it's about changing my identity altogether from being only a technical leader to become an author and even a thoughtful leader. So I think, yes, I feel proud after restarting my career. That's a biggest achievement for me.
Absolutely, and you should be. Yeah, absolutely, you should be, because this is not small. Because of course, challenges comes to everyone's life, but if you come out of it more stronger and powerful and peaceful than before, it's a huge achievement. So I would like to congratulate you for whatever you have become and whatever you have seen. And I mean, like I said, we all understand that it's also a change dynamics, which has given us those experiences as a women, especially those who are aspirational. But again, it makes us, and it's good if we take it positively, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prerna. And on top of it, based on your learnings, based on your obstacles, I don't want to keep those learning and obstacles with me. I want to share it with others. So the generation who is coming behind me, they should not get stuck in such obstacles. So last, like I second time when I restarted my career, it was in 2020, 6 years before. And if I see based on my learnings, my obstacles and problems that I faced, I would have touched more than 100 lives till now, where I'm telling them. Even now, a few of my friends, young colleagues or friends, whenever they're getting married or they got married, they are struggling, they call me immediately because now they can resonate. Like that is something that Ruchi faced. At least
Mm.
they have someone who can guide them, mentor them. So, what I feel, it's very important not to keep your experience with you, to share your experience and to let people know in advance, like whenever such things happen in the life, what can I do or who I can go for to take the guidance and support. So, right now, if you see, we have social media, and now people are thinking to even write a book, as I thought, to spread or share your experience and messages. We need such people, and that should be done. That makes others' life easy. Even if you touch few of the lives, then for them, they won their battle, right? They are shining in their life.
So, in this entire episode, was what you think that maybe one or two things that tested you the most or your patience the most? What were those things?
I think I was tested more with the lack of support that I hardly received when I was having kid, like when I gave birth
So
to
that
my
was from personal support that you were seeking or professional support that stopped you from or led you to take a career break? Like,
a majorly personal support.
mm,
So I was expecting some personal support definitely from my family, from my parents, from my in-laws, and from my siblings. And everybody was so busy in their life. As I'm the youngest kid, I would hardly see anybody standing at that time helping me or driving the path for me. So that was the biggest thing, that pinched me. Because being the youngest kid, you always, keep on looking from your elders and from your parents. And at the same time, they have their own life. They can't be there for
yeah,
you all the time. And you are not having that maturity and that at that young age, that mental stability to
mm,
drive your life ahead.
right.
So that was something that pinched me a lot.
Mm.
And that's where, if you see, I talk in my book, I talk more about compassion and I write in general more about compassion because I feel everybody is having one or two challenges in their life. And if they have such type of people around them, those are there are helping them or making them to come out of that struggle and the challenges, then I don't think we would be having any sadness in this world. Things
Yes,
would be
yes.
so thriving. I don't think there would be another Ruchi who took career break or another Ruchi who went through emotional trauma
Right,
because
right.
of,
And
yeah,
it's
but
so much
it,
deep rooted into small petty things of our day-to-day habits. And I'm glad that you're talking about it. And of course, about your book, Ruchi, you have written a book of completely onto compassion. So, of course, you talk about compassion also, and that has also kind of become your thought process now. You're living the compassion and not only talking about it. So, tell me about your book and how did that entire thought of writing a book on compassion come in? And then how do you thought of structuring it into a book and how did it evolve? So, tell me the story of your authoring this book.
so if you see why this topic compassion is very close to my heart, because I have seen so many successful people but still they are exhausted, and that is not coming from anywhere else but from my own family. I belong to a family, a joint family, having good business, a family of 20 people living together, but still, even after having everything that we the success around having business, having money, having relatives, big house, car, everything, even after that most of the members of that house were exhausted. So that's where it was always there in my mind, what exactly is missing. Because of that, instead of having everything, still these people are so blank and empty from inside. So when I lived forward, I started looking outside. When that realization and awareness came, that's why that topic came to my mind. Okay, what is missing? Compassion. And when I started living, and then what it started reciprocated in my life, I started building good relation. I started building smile and happiness inside me that I enjoy while being compassionate, while being with others. So that's where this seed of compassion got rooted into my life inside me. And then when, because of, then that compassion became my inner quality, or by default my one of the characteristics that started coming out of me in my every conversation. And then I felt the biggest transformation that this compassion brought into my life in my last organization, when because of that my leadership quality, I could brought up one team of almost 20 people together, the team who was struggling to deliver their outputs and their deliverables started thriving in 6 months and became the extraordinary performer and excellent performer of the whole project out of 35 teams. That gave me another confidence. Compassion is not only about in my personal life where I'm making friends, where I'm building my relation back in my family. It's even applicable in office. Though that team and that span of almost a year was a good example. My whole team, we are still connected and we are still discussing that topic. And when we are around, you won't believe, Prerna, that smile will never lose any of our face, and
Lovely.
still we have that bonding. So you see, from myself, then from home, then office, and then it comes to society where I'm living. When I'm seeing there are many cities, senior citizens, walking outside, then when they are around, I become a very small kid. I would be like, because what they don't need that I have to talk about my book. They don't need that I have to talk about what I have achieved in my life. What they need, that somebody is there with them and you are listening to them. And when I'm
Absolutely.
spending that time and that group of senior citizens, I enjoy their presence and they enjoy my presence. Now even if we are passing through, everybody will start saying hi, hello, and the smile comes. So all these small incidences made me to definitely build up my own personality as someone who is spreading so much love, kindness, compassion, and seeing the smile everywhere. And that's where then I started converting that to a form of structured book where I started writing everything about my own experiences, how it is giving benefit to me in terms of my own happiness, building relations, availability of people, bringing productivity out of their team, delivering a business as a company and management is expecting, and what else you need in life.
Absolutely. This book is more of a story form, or is it like your own experiences, or how can they work on themselves? How are they getting helped through for compassion through this book?
So it's more, definitely, it's a story more with the real-time examples and with some questions that will make you, the reader, to deeply think. Because
So it's a
in
reflective
general,
story.
it's a reflective story. It's a reflective story that you will read as a my story or my instances. And then after that, it will help you to deep dive inside you to
Hmm.
reconnect. Because I'm getting such feedback already with few of my colleagues or my friends. Like they are able to connect. Like even I felt it. I was not knowing. I could have connected that. I can revive my relations. I'm not self-compassionate. I'm not
Hmm.
giving enough time or pampering myself, then people are able to relate it. So it's not like some theoretical gyan or knowledge that I have written. It's about my own experience of my life, how I transformed myself and how I became whatever I am, and what are the basic essence of living a happy life that we are missing instead of relating it with materialistic things.
So who should read this book? A quick recommendation from your end.
Whoever wants to live their life that deep peace inside, fulfilling, that fulfillingness from inside. Yeah, my life I'm enjoying. I think all those people having this intention, they should read it. Otherwise, it's a book for everyone, for women, for kids, and even for leaders, because there is a chapter that is talking about compassion at workplace. Because, like as I said, if you are not understanding the mental stability or the turbulence that people are having in their personal life, then how even we can expect them to be with 100% output and deliverables. So even when we want people to be present and give 100% as at business, then we should be, sorry, we should be able to relate about their personal life also, because if there is a turbulence at personal life, people won't be able to give 100% in their business. So that's how this book is for majorly for everyone, and most important for the people who really wants to deep dive inside them and want to have that fulfilling and peaceful life. They should must read it.
Absolutely. And I think now the people who are listening to this podcast, they know that they should go and grab this book. This is available on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon, Flipkart, and even Kindle version is also available on
Great,
Amazon.
lovely. All right. So yes, now if you want to find that inner peace within yourself, I think this is a go-to book, which is perhaps written in a very simplistic form, and you'll be able to connect and reflect. Okay. So a very short game that I've planned for you. It's nothing but a rapid fire. Okay. So
Okay.
I'll ask some questions from you, and maybe just in one word or one line, you have to answer them. So whenever you're ready, we'll begin.
Okay, let's begin.
All
Give
right.
me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Here you
begin.
go. So, Ruchi, one word that defines you today.
Learning.
Learning. Okay. Coffee or chai?
Chai.
Okay. Ambition or peace?
Peace.
One thing you no longer feel guilty about.
Leaving the relations behind.
Okay. A habit that keeps you grounded.
Discipline.
Right. One quality every woman should develop today.
Self-learning.
A people pleasing or perfectionism, which is harder to break.
Both.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. One boundary every woman should learn to set.
Give time for give time to have relation of you with yourself.
Sweet. That's nice. What instantly fills your cup?
Love.
Nice. And the last one, complete this. A woman truly thrives when.
When they are authentic.
Oh, lovely, brilliant, very nice. Thank you so much, Ruchi. These answers were really honest from your heart and very helpful. And, I could relate to all of them. So, thank you so much for this entire conversation. I really enjoyed it. And, these conversations are very, very true, raw, and real examples of resilience, that we women can connect to it when we hear it. It sounds like our own stories. And we now also know through you and speakers like you who come to my podcast that how can they really evolve, how can they be better. So before we wrap up this session, Ruchi, maybe in one sentences, two sentences, what you want to tell the women who are hearing this, or anybody for that matter who is hearing this today, from your own life experiences, anything that you want to tell them that they should stop doing or start doing, or whatever, whatever piece of advice you have for the listeners today.
Yeah. Before we close, I just want to say this simple lines to every woman. Life is not that tough as we have made it. It's very easy. So be authentic and try and keep on checking what is the true value that we need in the life and keep on walking on that path, what is coming from inside.
That's sweet and straight and simple, that look within yourself, find your authentic self, you know uh, find your trade-offs, and then just go
Yeah,
ahead. Lovely.
exactly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruchi, for being here. I really enjoyed this conversation and feel connected to you and to your stories, and definitely looking forward to read your book also. And all the best to you to in whatever you are doing, Ruchi. And I am sure that with compassion and empathy and understanding, you have a further long way to go, not only in your career, but also in your life, because I think we need to kind of, include both of these things as a generic part of our life rather than, as you said, making it complicated. So, lovely pieces of advice, great insights that we hear today. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ruchi. I'm absolutely honored.
Thank you so much, Prerna, for listening me and hosting me here. I'm honored. I'm completely honored.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Then see you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Take care. If you also really enjoyed this entire conversation today and you felt that this is your space, this is your story, then like, share, subscribe, and share this podcast with someone who you think need to hear this today. Thank you so much for being with me. Have a great day.